Welcome back to our channel where we uncover the hidden treasures in the world of coins. Today we are diving into the history, the rarity, and the surprising value of the 1980 Mint Mark 1-cent penny coin, a coin that many people might overlook in their daily change, but that has an incredible story and even more incredible market value that has reached as high as $73,496 now. Before we get into the value, let us first set the stage by talking about the history of the 1-cent penny coin in America. The penny is more than just a small piece of copper-colored metal. It is a symbol of American history dating all the way back to the late 18th century. The very first 1-cent coin was struck in 1793 under the direction of the United States Mint, and since then the penny has gone through many designs, materials, and minting changes, each reflecting a piece of our nation's journey. By 1909, the Lincoln cent was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. This coin was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than an allegorical figure like Liberty. The original design, created by Victor David Brenner, featured Lincoln's profile on the front, and on the back the famous wheat ears design. The wheat reverse ran until 1958, when the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced in 1959 in honor of Lincoln's 150th birthday. Fast forward to 1980, the penny was still using the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, and the obverse side still featured Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln, but the materials had already started to shift. Earlier pennies were made mostly of copper, but by the late 70s and into the 80s, copper prices were climbing higher and higher. This meant that the metal content of the penny was worth more than the face value of the coin itself, and this forced the United States Mint to start experimenting with different compositions. By 1982, they officially changed the penny to a mostly zinc core with only a thin copper plating, but in 1980 the penny was still made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which gave it that classic heavier feel and rich brown-red color that collectors appreciate so much. The mint mark is another important part of the 1980 penny story. In 1980, the United States Mint was producing coins at multiple facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver Mint used the letter D as its mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint used the letter S for proof coins. And in 1980, for the very first time in modern history, the Philadelphia Mint began including the letter P mint mark on certain denominations, though not on the cent yet. So pennies minted in Philadelphia that year still had no mint mark, while the Denver and San Francisco coins carried theirs. Collectors today often hunt for these differences because mint mark placement can be crucial in determining rarity and value. Now let us dive into why the 1980 Mint Mark 1-cent penny has attracted so much attention over the years. At first glance you might think all 1980 pennies are common, and to some extent that is true. Billions were minted that year, but within those billions certain rare varieties, errors, and unique conditions make some coins worth a fortune. For example, coins that have doubling on the lettering or doubling on Lincoln's profile, known as doubled die varieties, are highly sought after by collectors. A doubled die obverse from 1980 could fetch thousands of dollars, especially if preserved in near perfect condition. Another factor is the grade of the coin. The grading system used by collectors ranges from poor, which means the coin is heavily worn and barely recognizable, all the way up to mint state, which means the coin is in pristine condition with no wear and only the smallest imperfections. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher are extremely rare for a 1980 penny, and when one of these surfaces at auction it can command prices that boggle the mind. Some have sold for over $70,000, including that astonishing $73,496 mark that has stunned the coin collecting world. It is not only the physical condition that matters, but also the strike quality and the color designation. Pennies, especially copper ones, are graded not just on wear but also on color categories, such as brown, red, brown, and full red. A coin with a full red designation means the original bright copper color has been preserved without darkening or toning, and these coins are considered highly desirable. So a 1980D or 1980S penny with a brilliant red color and a near-perfect strike could be the kind of coin that changes your life financially. Let us imagine for a moment you are searching through an old jar of pennies, maybe one that has been sitting in your grandparents' attic for decades. You pour them out onto a table, and there among the common coins lies a shiny copper penny from 1980. At first you think nothing of it, but upon closer inspection you notice its details are sharp, its color is vibrant, and it has barely any scratches or where you take it to be evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and to your amazement they return it with a mint state 67 red grade. Suddenly that ordinary looking penny is now worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is the thrill of coin collecting, and this is why the 1980 mint mark 1-cent penny has become a legend among enthusiasts. Coins like this remind us that treasures can be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by sharp eyes and careful hands. The story of this coin is also a story of how history and economics collide. The rising copper prices of the era, the transition toward zinc-based pennies, the introduction of new minting practices, all of these factors combine to create a coin that today is both historically fascinating and incredibly valuable. Now let us go even deeper into the market side of things. When we talk about a coin being worth $73,496, we are talking about a very specific example of the coin in its finest condition. The average 1980 penny you might find in circulation is worth only its face value, 1 cent, maybe a few dollars if it is in uncirculated condition, but the top graded examples are the ones that command those life-changing sums. Collectors compete fiercely for these coins at auctions because they know how rare they are and how much prestige comes with owning one. Auction records show that whenever a near-perfect 1980 penny comes up for sale, it sparks bidding wars. Prices climb rapidly as collectors and investors push higher and higher to secure the piece. In some cases, these coins are purchased not only by collectors but also by investors who see rare coins as a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. Rare copper pennies, especially those from transitional years like 1980, are seen as stable long-term assets that will only grow in value as time goes on. Another fascinating element is the era coins from 1980. Era coins happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and collectors often prize these even more than standard coins. Examples include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing due to misalignment, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank metal disc used was not the intended one for a penny but perhaps for a dime or foreign coin. Such errors are very rare and can bring thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the mistake and the condition of the coin. If you ever find a 1980 penny with strange markings, missing details, or unusual shapes, it is worth having it examined by an expert because you could be sitting on a hidden gem. The story of the 1980 penny also reflects the larger story of American coinage in the late 20th century, the transition from copper to zinc, the introduction of new minting technology, the evolving collector market, and the growing influence of grading services. All of these elements played a role in shaping how we value coins today. In many ways, the 1980 penny stands at the crossroads between old and new, between tradition and modernity. Now let us think about the cultural impact of the penny over the decades. Some people argue that the penny should be eliminated entirely because of the cost to produce it, yet others argue that it holds too much historical value to be discarded. Coins like the 1980 penny prove that even the smallest denomination can hold immense worth both financially and historically, and they remind us of the rich stories embedded in the change we carry in our pockets. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the 1980 mint mark 1-cent penny coin, let us reflect on the lessons it teaches us. Always pay attention to the details, because what might seem ordinary could be extraordinary. Always preserve what you find, because condition and care make all the difference. And never underestimate the value of history, because the past often hides treasures that the present has not yet fully appreciated. The 1980 penny is more than just a coin, it is a snapshot of a pivotal moment in American numismatic history. It carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the weight of rising copper prices, the transition toward modern coinage, and the thrill of discovery that has captivated collectors for generations. And with a market value reaching $73,496 for the finest examples, it stands as proof that sometimes the smallest things can carry the greatest worth. So next time you come across a penny, do not dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look, check the date, check the mint mark, and check the condition. You never know, you might just be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand, and maybe one day you will be the one to uncover the next $73,000 penny hiding in plain sight. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to another exciting video. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and explore one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1964 mint mark 1-cent Lincoln penny coin. This coin may look small and ordinary to most people, but to coin collectors and numismatic enthusiasts it carries a remarkable story, a historical journey, and an astonishing market value that has reached as high as $70,945. That is Right, a single penny that once cost only 1 cent to make now has the power to change lives and create headlines. Now, before we talk about the current market value, let us first step back in time and uncover the story behind this coin and why it has become so important to both collectors and historians. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has been one of the most widely recognized coins in the United States ever since its first introduction in 1909, when it replaced the Indian head cent. The original Lincoln penny was created to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and the man remembered for preserving the Union during the Civil War. The design of the Lincoln penny was done by Victor David Brenner, an immigrant from Lithuania who became a highly skilled sculptor and engraver. He wanted to honor the great President Abraham Lincoln by creating a portrait that would reflect strength, dignity, and leadership. His design featured the bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, also known as the obverse, and on the back of the coin, or the reverse, he included two simple wheat ears symbolizing prosperity and growth. This version was called the wheat penny, and it was minted from 1909 to 1958. But in 1959 there was a major change to the Lincoln penny design as America celebrated the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse side of the penny was redesigned to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., which added even more significance to the coin. Because now Abraham Lincoln appeared on both sides of the penny, his bust was on the front, and his statue inside the Lincoln Memorial could be seen on the back if you looked closely. This design continued for decades, and the 1964 D penny falls into this era. The D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was minted in Denver, Colorado, one of the main United States mint facilities. The Denver Mint has been responsible for producing billions of coins over the years, and in 1964 production was extremely high because the demand for pennies across the nation was enormous. At that time, the United States was going through economic changes and coins were being produced in large numbers to keep up with commerce. Now, here is where it gets fascinating. Even though billions of pennies were minted in 1964, both in Philadelphia with no mint mark and in Denver with the D mint mark, only a very small number of these coins survived in extraordinary condition, and only a handful have unique, striking errors or unusual characteristics. These rare versions are what collectors look for and are willing to pay massive amounts of money for. The regular circulation pennies from 1964 D are still worth just a cent, or maybe a few dollars in good condition, but the rarest and finest ones, the ones graded in top condition or with unique minting errors, can reach values as high as $70,945. So why is the 1964 D penny so special? Let us break it down. First is the historical context. This coin was produced during a time of transition in American coinage. Just 1 year later, in 1965, the United States Mint removed silver from its dimes, quarters, and half dollars because the rising price of silver was making coins more valuable for their metal than their face value. This change marked the end of an era, and collectors began paying closer attention to coins from the early 1960s. Second is the minting process itself. Back in 1964, the minting technology was not as advanced as it is today. This meant that mistakes and errors happened more frequently. Sometimes coins would be struck off center, sometimes they would have double dies where the design appears twice on the surface, sometimes the planchet or blank coin would have imperfections, and sometimes the wrong metal would be used. These error coins are incredibly valuable because they are unique, one of a kind, and no two are exactly alike. Third is condition. The world of coin grading plays a massive role in determining how much a coin is worth. A 1964 D penny that has been circulated and shows heavy wear might only fetch a few cents, or maybe $1, but a 1964 D penny that is in mint state condition with no scratches, no signs of wear, and a beautiful red copper luster can be worth thousands of dollars. Collectors look for coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with high ratings such as MS60. 5 MS66 or MS67. These coins are extremely rare, and when they appear at auctions, the bidding wars can push the price into the tens of thousands. Now let us imagine this: you go through your old coin jar, or perhaps you inherit a small coin collection from a relative. You take a closer look at the pennies, and suddenly you notice a bright, shiny 1964 penny with a D mint mark at the bottom of the date. You put it under a magnifying glass and see that it has no scratches and a strong red color. You decide to get it graded, and it comes back as an MS67 red designation. At that point, you are sitting on a treasure worth nearly $71,000. That is the incredible potential of this coin, and why collectors are always on the hunt for them. The story of the 1964 D penny also reflects something much bigger. It shows us how history, economics, artistry, and even chance can come together in a small piece of copper. A coin is not just money, it is a piece of history you can hold in your hand. It carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln. It carries the work of the Denver Mint in 1964. It carries the hopes of collectors who dream of finding one in their change, and most importantly, it carries the potential of turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. Now let us go deeper into the details of coin grading, because understanding grading is the key to knowing why some 1964 D pennies are worth just a few cents while others are worth $70,945. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, where 1 represents a coin that is barely recognizable and 70 represents a flawless coin in mint condition. For pennies, collectors also look at the color designation brown, red, brown, or full red. These designations show how much original copper luster is still visible, and they can dramatically change the value of a coin. For example, a 1964 D penny in MS65 brown might be worth $50, but the same coin in MS65 full red could be worth thousands. Auction houses have sold some remarkable 1964 D pennies in recent years. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins with the best eye appeal, bright color, sharp strike, and no distracting marks or scratches. It is not uncommon for bidding wars to drive the final price to staggering amounts. That is why when we say the current market value is $70,945, we are talking about the top tier examples, the coins that represent the absolute best of the best from the 1964 Denver Mint production. The 1964 D penny also teaches us about patience and opportunity. Many people overlook pennies because they seem too common or too small to matter, but in reality the penny has produced some of the greatest treasures in numismatics. Coins like the 1909 SVDB penny, the 1914 D penny, and the 1955 double die penny are legendary among collectors. The 1964 D penny is now joining that list because of its high value in perfect condition. So what should you do if you find a 1964 D penny in your pocket, change, or coin collection? First, do not clean it. Cleaning coins actually lowers their value because it damages the original surface. Second, handle it carefully, preferably by the edges, so that you do not add fingerprints or scratches. Third, consider getting it professionally graded if it looks like it is in excellent condition, because only then can you truly know its value. As we continue exploring the journey of this coin, we must remember that coin collecting is not only about money, it is about history, it is about preserving artifacts, it is about the thrill of the hunt and the stories behind each discovery. Every coin has traveled through time, through people's hands, through pockets, through cash registers, and maybe even across the country. Who knows what stories your 1964 D penny could tell if it could talk? And finally, let us talk about the current market state. In today's market, collectors are competing for the rarest examples, and values are at an all-time high, with more people entering the hobby and with fewer top quality coins available. Prices have continued to rise. That is why this coin is now valued at $70,945, and why it has captured the imagination of so many collectors across the world. So the next time you see a 1964 D penny, do not ignore it. Take a moment to appreciate its history. Take a moment to imagine the hands it has passed through. Take a moment to remember that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprises, and who knows, maybe one day you too will find a treasure worth $70,000 hiding in plain sight. Thank you for joining me today on this deep dive into the history, the rarity, and the value of the 1964 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, be sure to subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, and keep your eyes open for more stories about the hidden treasures that might be hiding in your change jar. Until next time, happy collecting, and may good fortune smile upon your coin hunts. Welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1998 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but holds an extraordinary place in the world of rare coins and valuable collectibles. When you think of the penny, you probably think of just a small copper-colored coin that does not seem worth much more than a single cent, yet certain pennies in American history have become treasures worth thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars, and the 1998 penny is one of those incredible examples. The Lincoln cent has been an important coin in American culture since it was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The decision to place Lincoln's portrait on the penny was groundbreaking because it was the first time in American history that a president's face appeared on a circulating coin. The designer Victor David Brenner created an image of Lincoln that has now become one of the most iconic portraits in numismatic history, and that design still influences every penny struck today. Now let us move forward almost 90 years later to the year 1998. The United States Mint continued to produce the Lincoln cent in massive quantities both at the Philadelphia Mint and at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint is where the 1998 penny comes from, with the D Mint mark proudly stamped beneath the date. These coins were produced in the billions and were meant for everyday circulation. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual about them, but as we have learned throughout history, even coins produced in large numbers can hide rare variations or hold extraordinary collectible value. So what makes the 1998 penny so valuable to collectors today? One of the biggest reasons is the condition and rarity of certain examples. When coins come straight from the mint without being handled, they are known as mint state coins. If a 1998 penny is preserved in a perfect or near perfect mint state grades such as MS67 or MS68, it becomes a rare gem because only a small number of these coins survive in such flawless condition. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have confirmed the extreme scarcity of high-grade examples, which sends their values soaring in auctions. Another reason why this coin has captured attention is because of varieties and errors. Some 1998 pennies have what is called a wide AM variety in the reverse design of the coin. Normally the letters A and M in the word America are close together, but in some rare 1998 issues they appear wider apart. The wide AM variety was actually intended for proof coins, but somehow a few made it into circulation. This error has made those pennies extremely desirable, and when you combine that variety with the Denver Mint mark, you have a coin that instantly sparks the interest of collectors across the world. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket change and later discovering it is worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is the dream of every coin collector and treasure hunter. Stories of people who discover rare coins in everyday life often make the news and inspire others to start searching through their change jars and old coin rolls. This is part of the magic of coin collecting. It is history in your hands, and sometimes it can mean life-changing money. Now let us talk about the current market value as of today. A 1998 D Mint mark Lincoln penny in an extremely high grade or with the rare wide AM variety can reach staggering prices, and in some of the most recent market studies these coins have been valued at an incredible $76,543. That is right, $76,000 for a penny that cost 1 cent to make. It is a perfect example of how rarity, demand, and condition drive the coin market. But it is not only about money, every coin also carries history and significance. The 1998 penny connects us to a time when the Lincoln cent was still being made of copper plated zinc, a composition that started in 1982. Before that year, pennies were made of 95% copper, but rising copper prices forced the mint to switch to a cheaper alloy. By 1998, each penny had only a thin copper coating over a zinc core. While this may sound like just a technical detail, it is part of what makes the history of this coin so interesting. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality and eye appeal. A coin with a sharp strike, full details, clear lettering, and no distracting marks will always fetch higher prices in auctions than one with scratches or weak details. So when a 1998 penny shows up in a condition that looks nearly perfect under magnification, it becomes an elite collector piece. The story of the 1998 penny also teaches us a lesson about patience and awareness in collecting. Sometimes coins from modern decades are overlooked because people assume only older coins are valuable, but in reality even modern coins like this can turn out to be worth a fortune if they have the right features. It proves that you do not have to be holding a coin from the 1800s to strike it rich. Sometimes the treasure is hiding in plain sight. Think for a moment about the journey of a single penny struck at the Denver Mint in 1998. It may have rolled off the press alongside millions of other coins, entered circulation, passed through countless hands across grocery stores, schools, gas stations, and coffee shops. It may have been forgotten in a drawer or jar and then rediscovered years later only to be graded and identified as a top-quality rarity worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is the incredible path of some of these coins, and it is why collectors feel such a thrill in the hunt today when we speak about the 1998 penny being worth $76,543. We are not only speaking about cold hard cash, we are speaking about heritage art, history and passion. The art of coin collecting has always been about more than just value. It is about keeping pieces of history alive. It is about honoring the craftsmanship of mint workers and engravers, and it is about the stories we pass on to future generations about how something as small as a penny could one day be priceless. If you are interested in finding one of these rare pennies, there are a few tips you should follow. Always check the date and mint mark of your pennies carefully. If you see 1998 with a D mint mark, take a close look at the letters A and M in the word America. If they appear wide apart, you may have found the wide AM variety. Also pay attention to the condition of your coin. Even a regular 1998 penny can fetch impressive values if it is in pristine mint state condition. Coin roll hunting is another popular method collectors use. They order rolls or boxes of pennies from banks and search through them hoping to uncover rare varieties or high-grade coins. Though it takes time, effort, and patience, the possibility of finding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars makes the adventure worthwhile. So the next time you come across a penny, do not just toss it aside. It might look like it is worth only 1 cent, but it could actually be a hidden treasure waiting to change your life. The 1998 mint mark penny is proof that even the smallest coin can hold massive value and historical significance. As we close this story, remember that the value of a coin is determined by rarity, condition, and demand. The 1998 penny has all three qualities, making it one of the most remarkable modern-era coins in existence. Whether you are a collector, an investor, or simply someone fascinated by history, the story of this penny reminds us that treasures often hide in the most unexpected places. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history and value of the 1998 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin worth $76,543. Be sure to check your change, search your coin jars, and never underestimate the humble penny, because you just might be holding a fortune in your hand. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a long journey through the fascinating story of the 1998 mint mark 1-cent Lincoln penny coin, a small piece of American history that has captured the attention of collectors around the world. This humble coin, made of copper-plated zinc, may seem ordinary to most people, but to a dedicated numismatist and to treasure hunters it is far from ordinary. In fact, it has been valued as high as $83,998, which makes it one of the most exciting coins to ever come from modern circulation. Let us begin by looking at the origins of the Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. The Lincoln cent was first issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first circulating coin in the United States to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbol or an allegorical design. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln was created by Victor David Brenner, who placed his initials discreetly on the reverse side of the coin, and from that time forward the Lincoln cent became an enduring symbol of American currency and pride. As the decades rolled by, the coin went through several design changes. The wheat ears reverse design ran from 1909 to 1958, and then the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse took over from 1959 all the way to 2008, which includes the year 1990. This means that the 1998 mint mark penny carries on the tradition of showing Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. And while millions of these coins were minted, not all of them were ordinary. Some rare versions with unusual traits became valuable treasures to collectors. Now, when we speak of a mint mark penny, what do we mean? The United States Mint produces coins in several different facilities. The most well-known include Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, coins from Denver have a D mint mark, and coins from San Francisco often carry an S mint mark. Coins from Philadelphia are usually marked with AP. However, in the case of the Lincoln cent, many Philadelphia struck coins had no mint mark at all. That is why when you find a coin from 1998 with no mint mark, it is likely from Philadelphia. But in the world of coin collecting, not every no mint mark coin is the same. The value of the 1998 no mint mark penny is not just about where it was minted, but about condition, rarity, and errors. While billions of pennies were produced in that year, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine condition or with a rare mistake from the mint, for example a double die error, off-center strike, or other minting anomaly, can turn an ordinary penny into a piece worth tens of thousands of dollars, and that is where the magical figure of $83,998 comes in. This astonishing value was achieved at auction when collectors competed to own one of the finest examples of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that you could easily mistake for any other penny, yet under careful inspection by grading services and under the eyes of experts it transforms from a common coin to a fortune, a piece that could change someone's life forever. That is why collectors search through rolls of pennies, bags of change, and family collections, because they hope to be the one who finds the hidden gem tucked away in a jar or a drawer. To fully understand why this coin is so valuable, we must look at the grading system used by collectors. The Sheldon coin grading scale runs from poor grade at 1 all the way to perfect mint state at 70. The closer a coin is to mint state 70, the more valuable it becomes. A 1998 no-mint mark penny in poor condition is worth only its face value of 1 cent, but when it is graded at the highest levels like MS68 or MS69 with full red luster and no visible flaws, it becomes a rarity that collectors are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for. Another layer of fascination comes from the historical context of the late 1990s. This was a time of economic change, technology boom, and shifting cultural landscapes, yet through all of this the Lincoln penny remained a constant symbol in American life, a coin passed from hand to hand in schools, stores, and savings jars. Every penny told a story, and out of billions minted, only a few survived untouched by time, preserved in exceptional condition, waiting for the right collector to recognize its hidden worth. Stories abound of people who casually checked their pocket change and discovered a rare penny. Imagine a young student paying for a soda and handing over a penny that could be worth a small fortune, or a parent digging through an old coin jar to help a child with a school project, only to realize later that one of those pennies is an extraordinary rarity. These tales fuel the excitement and the dream that drives the coin collecting community. Now let us take a closer look at what sets the 1998 no-mint mark penny apart from other years. First of all, the Philadelphia Mint struck an enormous number of these coins, but only a handful have survived in gem condition. Second, there are known varieties from that year, including double dies, especially on the lettering and numbers. Some collectors have reported strong doubling on the word Liberty, or on the date 1998. Such features create intense bidding wars when these coins come up for sale. Third, the demand for Lincoln cents is always strong because it is one of the most collected series in the United States, with millions of enthusiasts worldwide. So how does one identify whether their 1998 no-mint mark penny could be worth thousands? First, check the coin for overall condition. Is it bright red, shiny, and free from scratches or marks? Second, look closely at the details under magnification. Do the letters and numbers show signs of doubling, or do they appear crisp and clean? Third, consider getting the coin professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC, because certified coins always command higher prices at auction. Let us now talk about the current market value. While the average 1998 no-mint mark penny is still only worth 1 cent and maybe a few dollars in circulated grades, the rarest examples command astronomical prices. One specimen sold for over $83,998 at auction, making headlines among collectors and proving that modern pennies can be just as exciting as older classics. This value reflects both the rarity of the coin in pristine condition and the passion of collectors who are willing to invest in one of the best examples known to exist. The coin market, like any market, rises and falls with time, demand, and economic conditions, but the Lincoln cent, especially rare examples like the 1998 no-mint mark penny, remains one of the safest and most beloved collectibles. It is not just about money, but about holding history in your hand, a tiny piece of metal that connects you to the story of America, to Abraham Lincoln, to the minting process, and to the countless people who handled similar coins in daily life. So if you are wondering whether to search your change jars, the answer is yes, absolutely. Every day people overlook coins that could be worth thousands. Every coin tells a story, and among them could be a treasure like the 1998 no-mint mark penny. Imagine the joy of finding such a coin, realizing its value, and either keeping it as a cherished heirloom or selling it for a life-changing sum. As we reflect on This story we see how a small coin can inspire curiosity, passion, and even dreams of wealth. The 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent teaches us that sometimes the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary secrets. It invites us to look closer, to pay attention, and to appreciate history in the palm of our hands. So next time you have a penny, do not dismiss it too quickly, because one day it could be more than just a cent. It could be $83,998. It could be your ticket into the world of rare coins, and it could be the discovery that makes your life a little brighter. Thank you for joining me in this long journey through the fascinating history and value of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny coin. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a story about hidden treasures and the amazing world of coin collecting. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the fascinating story of the 2015 D-Mint Mark 1 cent penny coin, a coin that may look ordinary to most people, but in reality it carries a history that stretches back more than a century and has become one of the most exciting finds in modern coin collecting. The penny is the most common coin in circulation in the United States, yet certain years and certain mint marks hold incredible secrets and values that can shock the entire coin collecting world. In this video we are going to explore the full history of the 2015 D penny, how it connects to the long-running Lincoln cent series, why the Denver Mint played a major role in its story, and how one of these coins ended up with a current market value of $83,998. To begin, we need to take a step back into history and understand the roots of the Lincoln 1 cent coin. The Lincoln penny first appeared in 1909 during the presidency of William Howard Taft to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Before that, the United States penny featured different designs such as the Indian head cent and the Flying Eagle cent, but in 1909 the Mint made the historic decision to place the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the 1 cent coin, making him the very first real person to ever appear on a circulating United States coin. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on many pennies from that era. Fast forward through the decades, the Lincoln cent went through many changes, from the original wheat ears reverse to the memorial reverse that began in 1959 to the shield reverse introduced in 2010. The shield design symbolizes unity, strength, and the protection of the United States. This shield design is the one that still appears on pennies minted in 2015. Now, the Denver Mint, also known as the D-Mint mark, has been one of the major facilities responsible for producing billions of pennies each year. The Denver Mint began operations in the early 20th century and became one of the largest coin-producing facilities in the world. Every coin made there is stamped with the letter D to distinguish it from coins made at Philadelphia, San Francisco, or West Point. In the case of the 2015 D penny, it is part of a massive production run, yet even within such large numbers, certain coins have tiny errors or unique qualities that set them apart and give them extraordinary value. The 2015 penny itself is struck from copper-plated zinc, just like all modern cents since 1982. This means the coin has a core of 97.5% zinc and only a thin outer layer of 2.5% copper. This change was made back in the early 80s because the rising cost of copper made it more expensive to produce a penny than the coin was worth financially. Yet despite this lower intrinsic value, collectors have always been fascinated by the small variations that appear in coins from year to year. So why would a 2015 D penny be worth over $83,000? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and era combinations. Coin collectors and numismatists pay special attention to coins that were struck with mistakes by the mint. Sometimes the die that stamps the coins has cracks or doublings, sometimes the planchet or coin blank is misaligned, sometimes the strike pressure leaves unusual markings. These are called mint errors, and when such an error occurs on a modern coin that is still in circulation, the value can skyrocket, especially when the coin is preserved in near-perfect condition. One of the most famous varieties from the 2015 D penny is the double die error. Collectors reported finding coins where the lettering in words like Liberty or In God We Trust appears to have been struck twice, creating a doubling effect under magnification. Another variety includes off-center strikes where part of the design is missing or shifted to the edge of the coin, and then there are examples with die cracks across Lincoln's portrait or the shield reverse. Each of these rare errors, when authenticated and graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, can sell for thousands of dollars. In the case of the record-breaking 2015 D penny that sold for over $83,998, the coin was not only struck with a dramatic error, but it was also graded in Pristine mint state condition coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and a coin in mint state 69 or 70 is almost flawless under magnification. When you combine an extremely high grade with a dramatic mint error, the coin becomes one of a kind, and collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to own it. Now let us consider the journey of such a coin. Think about it. A penny minted in Denver in 2015 enters circulation, and most people would never look at it twice. They might spend it at a gas station or receive it as change at a grocery store. Yet for someone with a sharp eye who inspects their pocket change closely, that same coin can represent life-changing money. It is a reminder that treasures are often hidden in plain sight. The story of this 2015 D penny also connects to the broader fascination with rare coins across American history. For example, the 1909 SVDB penny, which was the very first key date Lincoln cent, is worth thousands of dollars today. Similarly, the 1955 double-die penny is legendary in coin collecting circles with its dramatic doubling on the obverse. Now, the 2015 D penny joins this list of modern legends, proving that even in the 21st century valuable coin errors continue to appear. Let us also talk about how collectors authenticate and value these coins. When someone suspects they have found a rare 2015 D penny, the first step is usually to examine it under magnification, looking for doubling, cracks, off-center strikes, or other unusual features. The second step is to send the coin to a grading service. A professional coin grading company will not only confirm whether the coin is authentic and what type of error it has, but also assign it a grade from 1 to 70. Higher grades bring higher values. After grading, the coin is encapsulated in a protective holder known as a slab, which preserves its condition for future collectors and auction houses. The coin that reached the record price of $83,998 was auctioned through a major numismatic auction house where multiple bidders competed fiercely for the chance to own this modern rarity. The final hammer price stunned even seasoned coin experts and quickly made headlines in the collecting world. It reminded everyone that even coins as recent as 2015 can achieve values usually reserved for centuries-old gold or silver pieces. This has had a ripple effect on the market for 2015 pennies. Many collectors now pay closer attention to every D mint mark penny from that year, hoping to find another valuable error. While the majority of these coins are worth only face value 1 cent, the possibility of discovering a coin worth tens of thousands keeps the excitement alive and drives more people into the hobby of coin collecting. If we look at the broader history of coin collecting, we see similar patterns. In the past, certain coins were ignored for decades until one dramatic auction revealed their rarity and value. After that, everyone rushed to check their own change jars and coin rolls. Today, the same thing is happening with modern coins like the 2015 D penny coin roll. Hunters across the country purchase rolls of pennies from banks and go through them carefully with magnifying glasses in the hopes of striking gold, or rather striking copper-plated zinc. It is also worth mentioning how market value can fluctuate. While the record sales set the high bar of $83,998, the actual price a collector might receive for their coin depends on demand, error type, and grade. Some rare varieties may bring in a few $100s, while others may cross into 5 or 6 figures. The important factor is that coins once thought ordinary are now considered potential treasures. The cultural significance of this cannot be understated. The penny is often seen as the lowest value coin in America, yet it continues to surprise us with hidden worth. It serves as a metaphor that even the smallest and most overlooked things can carry immense value. Under the right circumstances, the 2015 D penny teaches us to pay attention to details, to respect history, and to never dismiss the potential of what seems common. As we close out our deep dive into the history and current value of the 2015 D mint mark 1 cent penny coin, let us summarize what makes this coin so extraordinary. First, it belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 and remains a symbol of American coinage. Second, it was minted at the historic Denver facility, which has produced billions of coins for the nation. Third, unique minting errors and extremely high grades transformed an ordinary penny into an extraordinary rarity. And finally, its record auction price of $83,998 proves that even a coin most people ignore can become a numismatic legend. So the next time you receive change from a store, do not overlook your pennies. Check the date, check the mint mark, and look closely for signs of errors. You never know when you might be holding a small fortune in the palm of your And thank you for joining me on this journey through the history and value of the 2015 D penny. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow collectors and coin enthusiasts. Together we can keep the passion for coin collecting alive and continue to uncover the hidden treasures in our everyday change.